Geomax, we have a large portfolio, many instruments. We have GNSS receivers, total stations, rotating lasers, levels, locators, lots of different equipment, and our software works with most of those. So contact your salesperson for more information. Today, we're going to talk about the XPad Ultimate. It's a unique software only for Geomax. It operates on the Android platform, the first survey software fully functional on the Android platform. I think now maybe some companies are starting to go that way, but we were the first. So here you see our screen. We have the smart drawing tool display screen. So as you're creating your measurements in the field and collecting information, this is what the smart drawing tool screen looks like. You can create points, lines, arcs, splines, as you can see there, everything that you may need. It's very easy, user-friendly software. We have large buttons that are very easy for the largest person with the biggest finger. It's easy to select those. So it's a nice, easy platform to work with. We're going to be going through some of these today, and I'll explain a little bit more as we go. So also, I'd like to tell you about some of the smart drawing tools. Now, when you get started, the good thing, the XPad is really flexible, is you can start drawing right away. You don't need a code. You can just have your point number. You can select whatever you'd like to draw, whether it be a point, you just want to create a point, or you can draw a line. You can also draw circles, arcs, other things in the field. Now, as I mentioned before, the great thing about this is no code needed, no description. You don't need your points consecutive. You can just draw lines or do whatever you may need right in the field. By doing this, everything goes right onto the same layer. If you use no code, everything is created on the same layer. Now, we also have a code list that comes inside the XPad Ultimate software. This is, you can see part of it. This is the way it looks. This is our default codes. You're also able to upload your own code list. If you have one created, you can do that. If you want to use this code list, that's great. If you happen to see something or you don't see the code that you would like, then you can go ahead and create whatever you like. Just type in the code. It's going to add that to the list, and then you can use it the next time. It's already going to be on your list. Now, as you create these codes, every time you create an object, a line on a certain code using a certain code, that's going to put everything on a different layer. So each code represents a different layer. So I'll show you a little bit more about that as we go as well. And we have also some smart drawing line work. This line work is a more advanced function. What we can do here with this is we can just add a few lines that we know we're going to create in the field. It might be maybe a boundary line or a fence line, maybe a curb, asphalt, whatever. So you can set up your codes and just say you're going to be working with these specific lines. So once you set these codes up, you can just select whichever one as you go. Say you want to create some new points for this line, you select that one. You move on, you see another line you want to create, so on the other side opposite, you can just select that line and create some points on it, and you can just move around and jump around from line to line, code to code to create what you need. So you're able to create multiple lines, adding drawing options to any line that you may need. Also, what we have is inside the very powerful XPad Ultimate software, we have a CAD layer manager. So I was talking about the codes. As you can see there, once you're in the CAD screen, you're able to open up the different layers. You can turn those on, you can turn those off. You can create new layers. You can change the colors and view what you would like. So it has many different options. So what I want to do is I want to start, I'm going to hook up my tablet, and I'm here with my Zoom 90, Geomax Zoom 90 robotic instrument. And I'm going to be connected to the XPad Ultimate, and I'm going to show you how some of these functions may work in the field. So bear with me just a minute. I'm going to try and connect my tablet. And I think you should be able to see it there now. So that's what the main screen looks like once you get into the XPAD Ultimate software. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a job. It's going to create a new job, except I'm going to go to the survey screen, and I already have a current station set up, so I'm just going to select yes. And this is my station setup, and I accept it. And now I'm ready to survey. I can go to survey points. So here's what the screen looks like when you're actually measuring points. As you see at the bottom, you have your point number, you have your code over to the right. As you see, nothing is selected. So we'll take a few measurements like this. So bear with me, I have to stand up away from the computer, so I'll try to talk a little bit louder. So what I'm going to do here, I have points selected, so I'm just going to take a few measurements like that. And as you can see, I'm going to start the new, and you'll start to see the lines and the points. You see the point number show up. And as you see, once I zoom in a little bit, you can see the point numbers. Okay, that's pretty basic. So I'm going to go ahead and let me go back. I'm going to show you. I'm going to select point, and then I have my options. I can select different lines, arcs, lines, circles, whatever. So I'm going to select line, and then we're going to take a few measurements with the line function selected. So I'm going to go to measure and sort. There's a point. There's our next point. As you can see now, you can see that it's starting to create the lines as you go. So I'll just take a few shots, show you how it works. Call them measurements, shots. I know there's different verbiage there. And as you see, as long as you're in the line mode, it's just going to continue to make those lines for your measurements. Now, what we can also do, we can also go into, want to draw some different lines. Then what we can do is change from the line. I can go into an arc. And what I can do there, actually, what I need to do first, sorry about that, I need to go down to break drawing because I was creating a line. So if I want to stop that line and go into something else, I'm going to break the drawing first. So since I broke the drawing, now I'm going to go back and do a couple line measurements first and then create the arc as well. So right here, we're going to be in line, take a measurement. Okay, as you see, it's coming up right there. Okay, there it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and create an arc. I want to select arc. And as you see over there, it says arc point 2. So as you know, you need 3 points for an arc. So the software knows that the point that you just measured, it knows that's going to be your first point. So it automatically selected arc point 2. So we're going to measure the second point of the arc. And then it's asking for the third point. So then we'll measure that as well. And as you see, it created an arc in the field. Now, the good thing about all these smart drawing tools, when you create the line work in the field, as you see, it doesn't even need a code or description or anything. And all this line work is able to be exported back into your office, and the line work is going to be completed. So you won't have to connect the dots. So you're going to save a lot of time. So this is a quick hack. Use this line work, saves a lot of time, more efficient. So, excuse me. What we want to do now is we have some other features I can show you as well. So if I select, excuse me, so if I select where it says arc point 2 over to the left, I'll hold that down. And then I can go back and I can create some different features. So let me show you how, I'll go back to line. So I'll go ahead and break the drawing. I'm gonna go back to the line work. I'll go back to line. And I'm gonna take a few more measurements here. Okay, excuse me. There's another line. You can probably see it now. I'll zoom in on it. It's starting to create that other line right there. I think you can see it. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and select something different. Let's go ahead and we're going to select the circle. Now it has two options. You can select the circle with 3 points, or you can select a circle with selecting to measure the center along with the radius. That's what we're going to do. It's only 2 points. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. I can take, can select circle there. So it's asking me to measure the center. Okay, now it's asking me to measure the radius. So anywhere in a circle, you can just measure the radius. And then it automatically draws a circle for you. Now you can do the same thing. If I select circle again, I can go back and I can select the square. There's 2 ways to do it. I'm just going to select this one. And it'll ask for 2 points as well. So I got one there. And there's the second point. As you see, it just drew the square automatically. So once you get used to using the software, it has some great features to save you a lot of time in the field. So let me show you the next one here. If I select square or corner 1 again, it takes me back to the Smart Drawing Tool page. Then I have other options. So what I can do here is I'd like to select spline, and I can show you how that option works. So I'm going to measure a few points as we go. It's asking for point 1, and it's going to ask for some other points. So I'll just continue to measure some points here until we can get enough points to show you how that spline works. So now it doesn't say a number, it's just asking for points. So I'll shoot a few more points and then we'll have it. As you can see, it's creating these zigzag points right here. So once we do that, what I can do here now is, as you see, it's just creating some zigzag points. So if I just click on this again, I can go to break drawing, and then it automatically creates the spline. What it does, you saw the points, they were just straight lines from point to point in the zigzag motion. When you do the spline, it curves out the lines and makes a nice curved line for you. So that's a great option to have in the field if you're doing that type of work. What I'd like to do now, let me see. So we got this right here. So if I go to, you see our drawings, everything's on one layer. So now if I double click on the screen here, it takes me to the CAD screen. So this is our CAD screen, and we have many options here. We can't talk about it, all of those today. You can see we can draw, we can edit, we have information data. So this is what the CAD screen looks like. And if you look on the left, you see a little icon where you can select a layer. So if I select that, it opens up my layers. So this is the CAD management layer system. So as you see, and we talked about all the points and lines that we created, we didn't need a code. So everything's going to be on the same layer. So it's inside the point. So if I click on that, then it goes away. So everything's on the same layer. So what else we can do is we can go to the codes, which is right here in your points and measurements. You click on codes and you can see all the different codes that we have. Excuse me. And then some are points, some are lines. You can see some different ones. You can also add a code if you like. So I'm going to go ahead and add one. You see how I did that? That's just at the bottom, you see add. I'm just going to select that right there. And then I can add a point. Now, it has different information, it has the code. I'm going to go ahead and create one. We're going to call it wall. And as you see, it says drawing type, single point. But one of the great features of flexibility of the XPad Ultimate is you can create this layer. It says single point. You can create single points with it, but you can also create lines. It's not just specific for that point. So that's one of the great things you can do. If you click over to the top and you click on layer and color, it says default. We can create a layer here. It talks about it, different things we can edit. We can add one here. I can call this wall as well. And then as I click on the wall, I can click on the color icon. Then I can change the color. And then we have a new layer inside. So now if I go back to my survey screen, I can go back into survey. We can go ahead and select code. If I select code, I want to try and find my new one I just created. There it is, wall. And now wall is created. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and double click on my screen again, go back to my layers, and I'm going to turn off the points we selected. So everything's going to be in this new layer now. So let me go ahead and make a few measurements, show you some points, show you how this works. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just start with a line where it says point. I'm just going to start with a line. I want to create some lines. So I'm just going to take a measurement. And we created a point there. And as you see, let me try to zoom in on that for you. As you see, it's creating a different color line that we selected in the layer. We changed the color, so now it's creating more lines. Let's take a few more measurements. A few more as we go, just so I can show you. And as you see, it's creating the different lines, different colors. So it's real easy in the field to manipulate all these things. And as you see, everything's a different color, and we have some different lines. So also what we can do is when I go back, I can double click on it again. I can go back into the CAD. I can click on the icon. And now what I can do, I can turn back on the points. And now they're all in there together, as you see. So I can turn the points on, turn them off, turn them on, turn them off. Also, you see the wall, we have that as well. I can turn those on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. So we have some great functions, really easy to operate. So let's turn them all back on. And then now we're just in the 2D screen. So we also have the 3D capability. If you're not familiar with the XPad, one of the great things about the XPad platform, it has the 3D capability. So it has some fast, responsive, great graphics. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of that. As you see, now I'm in 3D mode. Now you can move it from the screen. I can zoom in and out. I'm just doing this with my fingers, sliding on the screen. It's really fast and responsive. Also, if you like, you click on, you see over to the right, it says 100 and a little button, a little icon there, like a target. So if I click on that, I can turn the numbers off, and then you can see your line work a little bit easier. So it's really responsive. So that's one of the great features. Okay, also, let me go back to TD mode. Let's go back into, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk about the advanced line work. So what I'm gonna do is, since we have so many points in this one, I'm gonna go ahead and start a new job. And then I'll show you some more about that. So we're gonna create a new job, click on new job, accept. And we need to go to survey, survey setup. I can use the same setup, sure. It's already set up, accept. Now I can go right to survey points. Now we talked a little bit before about the the smart Linework. So we're going to click on the button there that says point over to the left on the side. I go back to my smart drawing page. Now we talked about most of these already. Now if you look at the bottom, you'll see the lines icon, and that's for our line work. So I'm going to select that there. You see at the bottom I have it selected. Then it's going to ask for my lines. I don't have any active currently, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some new ones. So what it does, it brings up your code. You can choose the different codes to create the different line work. Okay, I'll go ahead and choose back a wall. Then I'll select down here to I'll ask for another new one. And then let me see, I can go ahead and I'll select center line. And then I'll select one more. And let's see, let's go for edge of asphalt. Okay, so now I have these three selected. Now, when I'm measuring, I can measure 2 or 3 points in a row. I can jump over to another line and start measuring. I just need to click on the icon, the check mark over to the left of which line I want to work on and create more points, more lines, and I'll show you how that works. So we have line 1 that is selected currently. So we're down here. Oh, wait a minute. I lost my lines. Back a wall, center line, and fence. It doesn't matter. As long as we have 3, we can work with. So what we want to do, we have a fence line is selected, then we have center line. So I'm just going to go back. Line 1 selected. As you see, it selected the fence line. So I can start with that one. And I'll shoot a few points, measure a few points there. Okay. Okay, as you see, it's just creating lines. Now, if I click over here, I want to go to the next one. I just click on the center line, and then I can just jump over to the center line. I can start measuring points. As you see, it says center line. So it's just going to start measuring the additional line that I created. Well, I'm actually going to create now. But, as you see, so now I'm creating the other line. Now, if I want to go back and I'm like, okay, I got a couple of points here. Let me go back to this other back wall, wherever that is. And then I'm just going to start creating that line. So I just go measure, take a few measurements on that one. Then I can hop back over actually to the first one if I like. I can hop back over to the fence line. I can take a few more measurements there. And as you see, it just added it to the other line I was working on, or just whichever one you want to pick. You want to go back to center line, and you can create some additional lines along that line that you want to measure. And you can just measure that as well. And it just adds it to the line that's already going. It's already created with the same description, same code. Same thing, you can go back and you can see how many points you have if you look closely. We have 4 points, 5 points, 2 points. So if I go back to the back wall and I want to put a couple more points in, then I can just add a couple more points to it. It's very easy, user-friendly, drawing the line work as you go. So one of the great features is the user-friendly interface, easy to work with, create lines, manipulate, field calculate, all kinds of different stuff. So if you continue to join us for these webinars, we're going to be talking about many different things to show you more. So, but before we do that, I want to show you one more thing here. I want to go back and I'm going to create another job just to show you another feature that we have. So I'm going to go back, go to survey setup, continue the same one, get sure. I'll go to survey points. Now what we're going to do here is now we're going to set up some lines, and similar to what we would do if we were measuring a highway, we want to, identify the edge of the road, edge of asphalt, edge of concrete, whatever it is, go to the center line, then do the other side of the road. Some of the survey companies or software, you typically have to, either know the description and use that description or a code to create those lines, or you need to walk consecutively to keep the number. You have to walk in order to keep the numbers consecutively to create the lines. So it's much easier in XPED. So it's similar to this is what we're going to be doing. So if I'm going to have a roadway, I'm going to have 3 lines that I'm going to measure, and then something similar to this. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to take some measurements along these points here. So I'm going to take on one side of the road there. I'll take another measurement here, another measurement there, and then I'm going to move up to this side, or just stay on the same side, but just move up to the next station. And then I'll go across the road again, measuring like this. And we're going to call this, we call this a zigzag function. So we can just walk, it knows what it's going to measure, and then we can just do it very quickly. So that's another great function. I'm going to demonstrate how that works for you. So what we do is we'll go over to where we demonstrate the points again, select on point, excuse me, excuse me. And then we select lines at the bottom down here. See the orange, it'll highlight. So now we're going to add, just like we did before, we're going to add one, and I can go through here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add center line. The other way you can add these codes is if you look over to the right where it says not active, over to the right you have a minus sign and a plus sign. So if you'd like, you could go ahead and just hit the plus sign, and that just adds another code. It's the same one. Do that again. So now we're just going to use 1, 2, and 3 just to demonstrate that we're going to simulate that we're going to measure the road. So let me demonstrate that with the total station. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so it's asking for line 3. Okay. So we're going to measure a few more points as we go. Oh, wait a second. Look. I forgot to hit one button here. Let me show you. What I did was, when I go into survey points, I need to go there. I need to go here. And I got to do this real quick again. I made a mistake. So it's very easy to correct. So what I do is I go here. Now I'm going to add that and add that. It's 3, 4, and 5. That's okay. What I didn't do over to the right, I need to hit that zigzag button. So don't do that in the field, what I just did. So make sure you hit that zigzag button. Then you can go back. And then as you look over and you'll see the icon on the left. I should have noticed that, but there you go. So that's how we fix it. We're going to measure a few more points. So here we go. Tell you what, let me just start a new job real quick. All those lines are jumbled up together. Here we go. New job, new survey setup, accept, survey points, select lines, add, center line. There we go. We got our 3 points. Don't forget the zigzag button. Okay, let's see if we can make it work now. Okay, the first it asked for number 1, now it's asking for number 2. So I go to the center. Now it's asking for number 3, so I go to the other side of the road. Now I'm going to move up to the next station, and it's asking for number 3 again. Now it's asking for number 2. I'll measure that. As you see, I'll zoom in on it. What it's doing is it's creating the lines the way they should be, even though I'm walking in a zigzag motion. So I'm going to go up the station, up the road one more. It's asking for point number 2. I'll come back across, and then to the next point again. So as you see, it's creating the straight lines. It looks like a road, only I'm just walking back and forth in a zigzag motion, creating the lines as I go. So it's much easier when you get to the office. All the lines are created, all the work is done, and it's much easier for the office staff. So that's how that works. So we have many different features. If you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it pretty easy. Let me look and see if we have any questions. Bear with me for a second here. Les or Matt, did you have anything to add? Or
I think for sure the zigzag pattern is awesome for doing road profiles. The smart line work is great when you're doing topo surveys and you want to get out there and do some quick mapping without necessarily relying on the codes to do your line work for you. So overall, just great time savings in the field.
Les, what about you? Anything?
I really don't have anything to add. The zigzag function is I look at that as a pretty cool feature, largely in part to safety of surveying on roadside. Be able to walk across the road in that motion without having to look down and continue to take points is a pretty big plus.
Yes, that's a very good point, Les. You don't really have to look down to make sure you have the right point. Once you set that up in the zigzag function mode, it just go ahead, it automatically populates the correct code and description for you to take that next measurement. So that's a great feature. Good point, Les. I don't really see any questions from anybody, so it's pretty straightforward. So thank you again for joining us. Please join us again next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about some more of the CAD functions, some drawing tools, and we're going to show you a lot more about that. So please join us. This information will help you in the field. So thank you again for joining us, and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks for watching.